Double Dragon here with something different. I'm going to teach you how to make my Warcraft boss guide step by step with as much detail as I can carve out of my worn out brainstem. Maybe not everything I talk about here will be relevant to you personally, but maybe you'll learn a thing or two, like if you're making guides for other games, doing some machinima, esports, whatever. At the end of the day, guide videos are guide videos. I might make separate how-to videos for, say, my own satirical machinima or my Wowkimon dailies, might be down the track, or if people request it enough, we'll see. So let's jump right into it. First off, and this applies to all my videos, I draft out a script. The script is your blueprint. It details everything you need to know, and I can't stress how important it is. It is your golden reference point. For boss guides, I usually just focus on scripting my narration, and that's it. Exactly what I'm doing right now. I scripted everything I'm saying, except for this, and I'm speaking it. So visual elements, I don't think about till later, so just focus on dialogue. I use the format short intro, very short, just so the audience understands what my videos are for. If the fight is broken into phases, I'll place them under subheadings. A recap at the end listing things to remember. I usually condense these down to like 3 or 4 dot points, and an outro that says, hey, if you subscribe, good things happen, and check out the Facebook page, and look, I have more videos on my channel. So what you see in front of you right now is a program called Audacity. It's free, you can just Google it and download it, no worries there. And you don't have to use this program to record your narration if you don't want to. You can use any program you want, but I find this is the best one to monitor your levels. Now what I mean by that is I'm recording right now. You can see my levels are jumping up a little bit every time I speak loudly, and I'll play it back for you real quick. I'm recording right now. You can see my level, and essentially you want this to be where it is, like as you see it right now. If you see it jump up all the way too high, so I'll set up the microphone. When I do this, my voice is going to be really loud, so I'll be trying to like quiet. So I'll record a bit of dialogue right now, and I'll speak very close into the microphone, and you can see it's like reaching the top, and that means that when I play it back, and I'll speak very close into the mic, it's a bit crackly, like not so much there because I'm not really speaking very loud. But if you have something like this, it's very smooth, it sounds very nice, and you can inflate it later during edits. But I'll get to that in a little bit. So this is XSplit. It's what I've been using to record my screen and my voice at the same time in order to be able to show you what I've been doing in this guide. And it's also how I've been making the boss guides. I record Photoshop via XSplit. Now I can't give you a rundown of how to set this up. What I'll do instead is just give you a quick rundown of its features. Now, you can add some cameras, so say you got a built-in webcam, you can add that, media files, videos, pictures, etc. Screen region, that's what I'm using right now to record exactly what you are seeing, the screen region. Add game, I haven't really had a chance to try that out, but I imagine it will work. Resolution, now take note of this is what you want. Unless you've got a very fast upload speed, you want 1280 by 720, because that's what you're going to be rendering as when you finally edit and produce your video. So there's nothing else to it. I'm just going to move on from here down to the bottom of XSplit. So you got your scene sources, in this case a screen region, which is the exact box you see here now. I drew a red box around this area, and now I'm recording straight into it. You can adjust the settings, you can position, crop it, change the color, change, you can show mouse clicks, etc. Over here you got scenes, different scenes, so say I switch to scene 2, I'm not going to do it now, but it would switch to say another part of the screen to be a smooth transition. Nothing else to it, guys. Do check out XSplit, because it's anytime you want to record something on your screen, this is what you will need, absolutely. So let's get going. And this is Photoshop. I'm sure you're all familiar with Photoshop. It's what I use to draw onto my guides. This is the exact program I use. The background is just an image. I went into Warcraft and I did an LFR. We cleared the whole place, then I went back and I took screenshots of all the vacant areas. That's how I got that stuff. So layer 32 copy, I didn't rename it, but this is the layer I use to draw stuff on, right? So I added some blending effects to this. I will actually show you how I did that. I went into drop shadow, just have a look at the effects here. I can't be bothered going through each one individually, but it's basically just give the drawings some outlines so that you can actually see them better. Because if I did it without the blending options included, then you can actually see it's like really not that great. It's like horribly worse, but it's not that great to look at, in all honesty. So whenever I want to switch colors during an animation, I just go to my swatches, bam, Shazam, and that's about all there is to it. Anytime I want to make a new image, I just take the screenshot from in-game, crop it down to 1280 by 720, put an image on top of it, an image of the boss, and then a title for him. And then I just draw on top of him. And I record with XSplit by taking the screen region of the drawing itself, and that's all there is to it. And here is the most important part of any video creation, the editing. I use Sony Vegas Pro 10. Now, there's a bit of a learning curve to using any editing software. If this is new to you, if everything you see here is new to you, then just bear in mind that it's going to take a while to get the hang of it. But let me just give you some general tips. Now, first of all, you got different tracks, and these tracks are, like, say you got video on one. So for every scene I have a new video slide. Now, if I wanted to have something on top of a video, let's just take this image, paste it on top, right? So nothing happens. Well, no, actually something has happened, right? So you got this little video down here. Now, the reason that's there is because I had moved the track motion. I clicked the track motion button and I resized it and I removed it. Now, track motion is like one of the most important parts of any video editing. It's going to be how you place any portion of any video or any image, anything, alright? So you got to master it. In saying that, I'm not a master of it. I just know some general stuff. So you can rotate it, you can resize it. I think there's some other stuff you can do that I'm not actually aware of. You can do anything you want with it, and you can also animate it actually by going into Event, Pan and Crop by clicking any slide, and you've got down here some keyframes. Now, I don't use these for boss guides, but I'll just real quick show you what happens when you do move a keyframe. Right, so if I resize this to make it say bigger, so zoomed in on a certain thing, I could make a new keyframe and have that keyframe be just the normal video. Now, what happens is it'll start to move, it'll start to shift. I can't really show you it properly because otherwise it'll play all kinds of audio and that's awful, but essentially it'll just move the image how you want. It'll have a nice zooming effect. It looks a lot nicer when you're actually playing it, but regardless, one of the most important parts of any video is the music. And I just have a looping of some jazz, and obviously you are hearing it in the background right now because this video is complete for you. And I got that, it is public domain music, I got it off Newgrounds, so you have to make sure that your music is not copyright. So you just can't use any big artists unless you have their explicit instructions that you can actually use it. So like, you can't use a David Bowie song in your video unless Bowie has actually sent you a letter saying, yeah, this guy can make some random ass boss guide with my music, and I don't think that's a feasible little event to happen. Now, I have these little WoW model viewer graphics here of Double the Dragon. Now, I have these in all my boss guides, and what I did for that, I'll show you WoW Model Viewer after I do this little tutorial on Vegas Pro, but once you get the footage from WoW Model Viewer and you import it into Sony Vegas, I'll show you what it looks like when you have not, in fact, done anything with it. Alright, so when you import the video into, okay, it's just, it doesn't want to, let me just move it down. That's what it's going to look like. So once this happens, you got to resize it with track motion. So Shazam, I want her to be down here. That's perfect. And then you go into Event Effects, you go to Chroma Key, and you type in the color, like the orange color. So orange color would be 255 by 128 and 0 blue. And then it actually shows up and it looks nice. It looks like it's like she's actually there. And you can change the settings. You can make it so that she has like an orange glow. I have that in one of my satirical videos. it looks nice, but it depends on your background. Sometimes if it has like the wrong background, if you have like an orangey background, it's gonna look awful. You're gonna be like transparent. It's gonna look terrible. So then I take one event. I'll have her doing one action, say the talk animation. I'll cut it off at the very end, and then I'll repeat it. And I repeat that a bajillion times, and it'll loop really nicely. So you can do that as many times as you want. If you wanted to say more of these, more characters on your screen at the same time, you could pretty easily just, yeah, look at this. You can move around the screen and they'll both be there at the same time. So let me just play it for you real quick. First off, and this applies to, there you go, see, you can have as many as you want. You can have like actions, them interacting with each other, and you do all of that through Sony Vegas. So let me move on to the rendering, because it's the most important part of this video right here. Now I will actually inflate the video so that you can actually see this part, because this is very important. Now I use something called Sony AVC, and I go into the custom and I change these options. Now have a look at this closely, alright? Just have a look, just, you know, watch this in HD, have a look at my options, and then repeat it. Now the bitrate, you don't want that set too low. You don't want to add 1 million, you want to add 4 million. If you set it too high, it's going to be a ridiculous file size. If it's like 1 million, then it's going to be really low quality. Alright, audio, let's just have a look at that, and then MP4 file format, and make sure it's best. Make sure the video rendering quality is best. Once you've done all that, that will be your default options for anytime you render a video, alright? And it'll look really nice and really tops, and you will love it. So let us move on. Actually, before I finish, I will show you this audio slider. Alright, so when you play a, it's just like in Audacity, alright? So when you see your like sound move towards the red, you might need to move this output fader down. If it's not high enough, if you're like really quiet, then you got to move it up. So usually I'd be around here, so you can hear what's happening and it doesn't go too loud, too soft. So let us move on. So this is WoW Model Viewer. It's been around for a long time, and it's exactly how you're going to get your animations done. Now I ordinarily wouldn't use XSplit to record the footage, because usually there is a kind of a slight lag. You can't really see it, but things are a bit jittery. I use Fraps for this, and Fraps works very well. Fraps has a very large output size, but the quality just can't be beaten. So you got all kinds of animations. Say you wanted to swim, idle, you know, walk, etc. And you can adjust it so that they can be slower, they can be faster. Anyone who's got any basic knowledge in WoW Model Viewer knows exactly what they are doing. You can add armor, you can change skin color, face types, hair colors, etc, etc, etc. So anytime you want to record any kind of footage, you go into Fraps, you start recording, you just find a loop, of something. So say you wanted to do this for whatever freaking reason, you can just take this, record it, and then go back into Vegas and actually edit it so that it's got a start and finish. You don't have to worry about it when you're recording it. Just record for like 10 seconds, then stop, because you don't really want to record huge file sizes on something that you just don't need. So there are all kinds of options in WoW Model Viewer. I mean, I could show you all day all kinds of stuff you can get, but it's much more fun to explore on your own. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. One of my favorite things to actually do is to boot up this model thing and to actually change it into like a wireframe, and you get all kinds of like particles and cool stuff and bones, and that's just craziness. There's no practical use for it. I just find it fun just to mess around with it, see what I can bugger up by messing with all the settings. Anyway, let us move on. Actually, no, before we move on, I forgot the most important part, because I'm an idiot. You go into background color. Now, you find the background color that you're going to use. So if I was to do orange, just like I did in the, like for Double Dragon, I look for these settings. So you got 255 by 128 and no blue. Now that's very important. You write down those colors and you put it into the chroma key when you edit it later. Now you don't want anything that clashes with your character as they are, alright? So Just get rid of the wireframe for a second and the bones. So say she has like this kind of orangey hair. You don't want that with an orange background, otherwise it will mess it up completely. So in saying that, let us move on. So once you've uploaded your video, once it's all rendered and everything's good, you're gonna have to title it, have a description box, and make tags. Now, title, very important. You're gonna have everything relevant to the video itself in there, because that's the very first thing people are gonna see, followed by the first line or two in the description box. Now, I find that for this, you just got to fill out exactly what your videos are. What do they do? What are they there for? That just tells everyone what they need to know. After that, you can fill in extra information and other bonus goodies. And down here, the tags, very important. Anyone will tell you that. I can't show you the whole screen, but you just got to have everything relevant to your video. So in my case, it'd be Elegon Heroic. I got to have every variation of Elegon Heroic I can possibly think of and have them in the tag section. Once you've done that, you got to add in a thumbnail. Once again, very important. In my case, I just took the image of the boss and have everything relevant right there so you can see it. And I like the Dungeon Journal background. I thought that was very nice. So apart from that, after you do all this, you got to promote your videos, right? The only advice I can give people promoting their videos is be smart. Be smart about where you are linking your videos, right? Think about where you would look for boss guide videos and then exploit that area as much as you can, as hard as you can. What are all the places you would look for boss guides? That's where you want to be. That's where you want your videos to be linked, to be embedded, for people to be talking about it around the water cooler, everything. Alright, that is what you want. Even if it's not Warcraft, everything. Alright, no matter what boss guide you're doing, make sure people can find what it is that you would personally look for as well. And by that note, I'm pretty much done. Now, leave a comment if you've got any questions. I will answer them, absolutely. Just give me a question about things you've been wondering about. I didn't cover every possible little nook and cranny in this video. Like, I've got things to do, so I just gave, general oversight of everything that I do. So now is the time for you to ask me if you really need to know something, such as how expensive is XSplit? Can I even afford it? How do I get the certain program? How do I get codecs for Vegas Pro? Stuff like that. Just ask me and I will answer. But I will have more projects coming up, more videos, etc. More stuff to come. So stick around for that, guys. Subscribe if you want to. And I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.